Household debt in America just hit a new record of $140,000 per family. Keep in mind that's separate from your $280,000 share of the national debt or the $500,000 you owe in unfunded Social Security and Medicaid, all adding up to roughly 5 times the median net worth of American families. The numbers come from the New York Fed, who reports that household debt hit a record $17.8 trillion, driven by rising mortgage balances, rising auto loans, and rising credit card debt. For perspective, all the bank accounts in America hold about $23 trillion. Personal debt is at $18 trillion. The jumps on the quarter took mortgage debt to $12.5 trillion, up $77 billion on the quarter. HELOC debt, home equity lines of credit, rose for the 9th consecutive quarter as Americans raid the piggy bank to borrow against their house at up to 11% interest rates, which is close to what they charge at the pawn shop. Credit card balances hit $1.1 trillion, a new record. Auto loans jumped to $1.6 trillion, also a new record. The only thing that went down were student loans, down a paltry $10 billion, since they are being illegally written off to buy votes. Beyond the numbers are the delinquencies, people falling behind. The Fed said 90-day delinquency rates jumped to nearly 11% in credit cards. That's the highest since the 2008 crisis. Auto loans are less than a point shy of the peak in 2008. Quote, other debt hit 8.5 delinquency, also the highest since 2008. The only bright spot was mortgages, which aren't defaulting because houses went up so much that nobody outside Baltimore is underwater on their house. As for those student loans, defaults are traditionally very high, roughly 1 in 10. Yes, college grads are deadbeats, but currently we have no idea the default rate since the Fed is not reporting them until, by sheer coincidence, right after the election. Zooming into the actual humans involved, last quarter 136,000 Americans went into bankruptcy, 47,000 went into foreclosure, and roughly 6 million American households currently have a third-party collection open on them, meaning they are afraid to answer the telephone. All of this, of course, is hitting the young hardest. During COVID, they took on debt at historic rates, and now their collapsing wages cannot even service their 24% credit cards. I've mentioned in recent videos how young people are moving back in with mom and dad at rates not seen since the 1940s, and they increasingly see traditional goals like buying a house or starting a family as fairy tales from a long-lost age. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Since COVID, our economy is running on an unsustainable debt bubble. Federal debt, state debt, local debt, and apparently $17.8 trillion worth of personal debt. That has delayed the recession, but rising delinquencies and flatlining consumer spending say the debt treadmill is running out of steam. Alas, there is a cavalry coming, but it's not a good one. The same Fed report says that credit card limits are growing more than 3 times faster than balances, as banks take the trillions they borrowed for nothing during COVID and sell it back to Americans at 24%. That means another $4 trillion in bright, shiny 24% APR cards are standing by. If punters take the bait, it could delay or at least soften the recession at the expense of locking millions of Americans into a lifetime of debt slavery. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.